motor sitting up there would be very hard to pick up with a cherry picker or most other lifting devices, but my unit's so compact and easy to maneuver that I'm going to be able to reach right up there on top of that step, pick that engine up and put it in this truck for you. Okay, first let me show you how the wheels work on this unit. The wheels are pinned to allow it to move only in this direction or this direction. I'm going to change directions right now. By allowing the unit to roll in only one plane, it's much easier to control the whenever you're lifting a heavy weight, you need to move slowly. Remember, objects in motion tend to stay moving. We have to do all this lifting in stages because we can only move so far at a time. So now that I've got the engine up on the hoist, I'm going to roll it back, set it on the ground down here. Notice how one man can easily control this unit. And what you do is bring the crane down. You can see this unit is light enough that one man can handle all three of the pieces very easily. So here I've got the crane back on the ground, the motor on the ground. I'm going to move the block and tackle before it's back over the engine again. I can lift straight up. Second law, force equals mass times acceleration. The faster something's moving, the more force it has. So if this thing was to fall, it wouldn't hurt as much if you were moving slow. Now let's go. As you can see, I've lifted the engine over on this end of the beam because I want to set it on that side of the truck. I'll just carefully roll the unit over the truck. I just wanted to show you a different configuration of my crane. I've shortened it up a considerable amount to make it easier to maneuver in tight spaces. It still has enough length to span a pallet easily. But with the beam shortened up like this, it's easier to steer it, and it's easier to roll it in through a doorway. And now you can start to turn it inside the door much easier when it's in this shorter position. It's easier to maneuver it around. The next thing I wanted to show you about this thing is how when it's collapsed, disassembles. You can take it apart in just a few minutes. There's only 4 bolts that hold it together, 4 through bolts, and then 4 pivot bolts with the arms. So first I'm going to loosen all the bolts. One wrench takes care of all the bolts. Loosen the pivots. As long as the through bolts are in place, the unit will remain stable and won't fall over. Loosen all these bolts. Alright, same wrench, does everything including the block and tackle assembly. First I'm going to take this off, move the block and tackle. Take down the battery that I use for a power unit. I just use a motorcycle battery strapped here. I believe a jet ski deep cycle marine would be a better battery to use, or you can use to jump the cables off the truck. Next I'm going to take down the winch. Feed this up through the handle here. And there's the power assembly, all in one piece. Now, throw the arms on one end. Put them back in, bolt back in. Notice these bolts only take one wrench because the heads of the bolts are slotted to hold that in. So one wrench tightens up the through bolt easily enough. Then I tighten these side bolts, pivots, just to keep it from flopping around when you're taking the unit down. Alright, I've got bolts out of this end. Simply going to lift, roll this unit off to the side, A-frame, set the beam on the ground. Do the same to the other end, pull the through bolt. You can see because the wheels are locked in one position, the unit doesn't try to get away from it. This bolt. Now with this handle, I'm taking to just set the beam down on the ground. There's the unit. Completely disassembled and ready to stick in the truck. Just stick this through bolt through here. And I'll tighten it up so that it doesn't flop around in the truck. You can see how these A-frames are easy enough for one person to handle. Roll them right around. They're still incredibly strong. They're made from steel tubing. It's 120 thousandths inch thick. Plenty strong enough to support the wheel. Slide this up in the truck. Slide this one up. Carrying handles on the beam make it easy. Lift, manipulate. Tire unit folded up in the truck, less than 5 minutes. Erecting it takes maybe a minute. It slipped right in where the wheels were. You just slide them up in there. One end at a time, of course. Now you've got a very sturdy engine hoist. As you can see, I can get it up fairly high with this rig.